All right, story time. So today I'm going to talk to y'all about how I learned Chinese. I'm about to go out to grab me something to drink and just relax somewhere for a little bit, just to be outside. I like to go outside. Um, yeah, it's really hot today too. It's like 40 degrees. Well, for you guys there in America, that's like, I don't know, like 100, something like that, 101 degrees. It's like really hot. And so yeah, I'm out here getting a tan. But I'm about to go somewhere else to film a little bit and talk to y'all about how I learned Chinese. So when it comes to my Chinese ability, okay, I can talk to anybody about anything for the most part, especially like conversation, like daily conversation with everybody, not a problem. But some things, is difficult. Like if I want to talk about some medical things or something like that, or repair my car, some kind of things like that, it's a little difficult. But for the most part, everyday life, pretty easy. When I go places with other foreigners, the Chinese people who are in those places, they always tell me, "Oh, your Chinese is so much better than theirs. Why is that?" Blah blah blah. And which I don't think I'm great at Chinese. I think it's just I'm really comfortable with using it and using the things I know. So maybe I come across as knowing a lot more than people, or a lot more than I really know. But anyway, I never really formally studied. Okay, like I don't really know how to write or how to read for that matter. I can read a little bit, like some stuff, but I can't like read like a book or something like that in Chinese. Can't do none of that, and I definitely can't write. So I just speak. I never really had any formal lessons. Like I had two classes. Okay, I had two Chinese classes. One class was 30 minutes long, and I basically learned the Chinese alphabet, like the pinyin, not the characters, but like the romanized alphabet. So I learned those, and which they just have A through Z, just like the English alphabet, pretty much. And then they have like combinations of like two together, this kind of thing. So I just learned how to say those. And then I had one lesson for 30 minutes about the tones, which I always mess up, but it's not that important because everybody understands me anyway. So yeah, other than that, everything else was self-taught, and I never studied any books. I never used any apps, none of that stuff. So I'm gonna share with y'all how I did that. So let's go. We're about to get on the bike here, and we are gonna take off. So when it comes to learning Chinese, it's basically three things that help me become better or become good at speaking Chinese, because I didn't know anything when I came. When I came here in 2010, it was July 2010 actually. So I didn't know anything. I didn't know one word of Chinese. And basically, I got paid to learn. So how did I do that? My very first job here in China was at a kindergarten. I was working at a Hong Kong kindergarten actually, and the kindergarten was based in Hong Kong, and most of the students who went there were from Hong Kong, or had like a Hong Kong parent. And so they used Cantonese at home, but they weren't using the standard Mandarin. And so these kindergarten kids had a Chinese class every single day. where they would learn Putonghua because it wasn't their mother tongue. Their mother tongue is Cantonese. And so, and these kids are also, keep in mind, they're 2-3 years old. And so they're just now learning to speak themselves. And so I'm basically listening to them and watching them learn the language. And in doing that, I was also learning the language too, just by watching them and listening to them. So I could see them like hear what they were learning every day and see them putting it into practice. And so basically I started to do the same thing. I started to say the things that I heard them saying and the things they were learning in the class from the Chinese teacher. I would basically sit there and watch the class and basically repeat the same things they were repeating and say what they were saying when they were saying it and the way they said it. And that's how I got started learning Chinese. I just started using what I was learning in the class on them. And when I seen that they could understand me and they started replying back to me, then I really started putting 2 and 2 together and things started adding up and I was really starting to make sense of the language, even though I was speaking like a baby. But that's pretty much how I got started. And then, as time passed, I just got more and more practice by talking to those little kids and, playing with them and all these things. It's like normal daily life stuff, what they talk about. They talk about eating, they talk about playing, they talk about this, talk about that, talk about what they watch on TV. So I learned all that stuff. But the problem was, knowing that stuff, I'd basically have the mentality or the mindset of a 2 or 3 year old Chinese kid when it comes to speaking the language. So when I tried to interact with adults, especially, girls, I try to go on dates, stuff like that, and girls would always laugh at me, but like, not in a bad way. They would like make fun of me. They like laugh at me like in a cute way or something like that. They thought it was cute because I was speaking pretty much like a baby. So that was pretty funny. Like they just thought I was like almost like a baby and childlike. But here I am, at that time I was like 28, 29 years old. And I'm like talking to these, 21, 22-year-old girls. And I'm talking to them like I'm a baby. And so they laugh and think it's cute and all of that. And then actually got a lot of dates from that. But that's basically how I got started. And then when it comes to the second thing. Now this one, I don't know how people are going to feel about this, but it's really one of the major things that helped me learn a lot really, really fast. It basically fast-tracked my Chinese ability. So there was this girl that was working with me at my job, and she was like a kind of like an intern or something. She was like, like still in university. This girl's like 20 years old or something like that. I was like 28 at the time, so not a big deal. But she knew like zero English. Her English was pretty much non-existent. And she was just basically studying to be like a Chinese kindergarten teacher. And so she asked me, can you help me learn English? Because she thought like, I guess my English class was fun or something like that, the way I was teaching the kids and all. So she was like wanting to learn. She's like, so can you help me? And I was like, yeah, I don't really know how to teach an adult. I've never taught an adult before. She's like, oh, you don't really need to teach me. Just like spend some time with me. She said, how about I just like come to your house every day? She said, I know how to cook. How about I come to your house every day and I'll cook dinner for you, and then we can just like hang out and watch TV and talk, whatever. So I said, okay, I agreed to it. So every day after work, she'd come to my house. She finished work like 30 minutes after me, so I was already home. But anyway, she'd come to my house every day after work and cook dinner for me. And she's talking in Chinese the whole time. She's telling me, oh, I'm going to cook this today or cook that today. Or she asked me, like, what do you want to eat today? Like all this stuff. But she's using Chinese because she don't know any English. So I started to learn really daily life Chinese really fast, especially in terms of communicating with adults instead of children now. And so, every day she'd cook the food, we watch TV, and she'd talk to me about the TV show, whatever's happening in the TV show. Sometimes we might watch like a English TV show or something like that. But because it's in English, like I comprehend what's going on, and she's trying to, talk about what's going on in Chinese. So it really helped me put 2 and 2 together and understand what she was talking about and how to communicate in a more adult way instead of the child way that I was using before. So then I took this knowledge and started using it on adults. And once I seen that they could understand what I was saying, I just developed a lot more confidence, and also became just much more comfortable speaking the language because I wasn't scared. Like, I could see people understood what I was saying, and I knew I was saying it right if they could understand me. So I really developed a bit of confidence and became comfortable with the language a bit. And then after that, the third thing, the last thing that contributed to it a whole lot, was moving. So I actually I was living in Shenzhen at that time, and I moved to a smaller city. I moved to Zhongshan. And in Zhongshan, it's like, it's like 3 million people. Not many people speak English. It's like almost 100% Chinese environment. No English speakers around anywhere, no foreigners. It was like not much around. And so I basically put myself in an environment where I had no choice but to speak Chinese. And because at that time I already knew some, I just felt comfortable with it, and I just started using it every single day in a really just more like just relaxed state. And I don't know if it's because the way I was so relaxed about using the language, and people really had the impression that my Chinese was really good. And then after some time there, I also really start to learn more about the culture, like how I could understand the way Chinese people's minds were working and how they were thinking, their logic behind their thinking and what they're thinking. And so I really started to understand the culture more. And then once I did that, then I could really understand the language and what different things meant, because I really knew what the culture was. I wasn't like studying the culture from a book. I'm learning it firsthand from people by watching people and interacting with people and seeing how these people are what these people are doing and how they're reacting and the language they use, because it's not like standard textbook language that you study like in a classroom, because people use slang words and they use different words in different ways and all this kind of stuff. So I really started to pick that up and become in tune with Chinese culture. And because of that, now when I interact with a lot of Chinese people, I've even had Chinese people tell me I'm too Chinese, try to date some girls, something like that. It's like, oh, you're so Chinese, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like very Chinese. It's because I understood the culture, understand a lot of the culture, and learn how to communicate effectively about things like that. That makes, I'm gonna say, like, I'm not saying historical culture, but more like pop culture, like what's going on in the world right now today with celebrities and this and that, and I learned how to understand those things. And so that made people really appreciate the way that I was, speak Chinese to them, or the way that I was using the language and understanding the modern culture, not the historical culture. So all those things made a huge difference in my learning process. And even to this day, I'm still not studying because I'm just lazy. I don't really care. I'm not worried about studying. I don't care about reading and writing, because if I have a problem, I can just walk up to any person on the street and ask them a question, and I usually answer the question, because most people are quite friendly. So, worst case scenario, I don't know something, I just ask somebody. If I go to the restaurant and I can't really read everything on the menu, I just ask the people, the waitress or waiter or whatever, ask them, hey, do you have this or that, blah, blah, and or what do you recommend? And they tell you, okay, that sounds good, I'll take that. So, I just ask my way around, and it seems to work. It's been working so far. So, anyway, that's pretty much it. That's how I end up learning Chinese. So if you learned another language, let me know. I'm curious what languages you know, and how did you learn that language? And then let me know in the comments below. And like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see y'all on the next video.